Hello again. We have reached the month of May. I read on a Facebook post that this month is perhaps called May because it may rain, it may snow, it may be 20 degrees, it may be 0. Has this not been the case these past few weeks? My guess is that in the month of May, farmers, gardeners, and maybe all of us welcome rain or snow, anything to get some moisture into the soil. Last month's Cultivating Faith Devotional also talked about a willing seed and how seeds need the right conditions to come out of dormancy and produce a crop. The reality is that no matter how much land we have access to, land that is dry and parched needs rain to allow seeds to produce a harvest. I cannot quite imagine how hard it is for farmers to wait patiently for rain to come. The Bible even refers to this act of patience in James 5:7. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, waiting patiently for the autumn and spring rain. Some things in life simply require patience. But how does one remain patient when there is so much at stake? At the beginning of May, farmers in Western Canada began putting a lot of seed in dry land. And while such work is always an act of faith, perhaps it was even more so this year. But what about small-scale farmers in developing countries that do not have access to crop insurance if the rains don't come? What do they do? As you can hear, I might have some good questions, but not too many answers. So instead of hearing from me, I thought it best to invite a farmer to talk about waiting patiently for rain to come. Rick and I met Gaylord Miro when we began working with the Canadian Food Grains Bank just about 5 years ago. Gaylord and his wife Lois had a growing project on their farm for many years, and they have willingly served in a variety of capacities for both MCC and the Food Grains Bank.
As a young farmer, about 45 years ago, I rented land from a neighbor who was retiring. We met one day and were chatting. It didn't take long for the conversation to turn to farming, the condition of the crops, and the lengthy dry spell we were experiencing. Well, it's got to rain one of these days, I said. No, it doesn't, he replied. I was surprised by his matter-of-fact response and wasn't sure what to say. I'm a retired farmer now, and over the years I've often thought of my neighbor's words. I've heard his voice whenever a fellow farmer would say, well, it's got to rain one of these days. I thought of his words when my wife and I were on a Canadian Food Grains Bank learning tour to northern Ethiopia in 2017. The countryside was brownish yellow color everywhere we looked. The only green we saw was the occasional irrigation project we passed or visited. We were told this area had experienced 3 consecutive failed harvests. The land was parched. It seems like I've spent most of my farming career looking to the sky, or in the latter years checking the radar on the Environment Canada site for signs of coming rain. Sometimes the rains have come in abundance and yielded beautiful crops. Sometimes the needed rain has come just in the nick of time. Sometimes it has come when significant yield potential has been lost. Sometimes the lack of rain has resulted in a crop failure. Experiencing all of these different scenarios on my farm has caused me to consider the words found in Luke 12:25. And who of you, by being anxious, can add a single day to his life? Or we might say, who of you, by being anxious, can make it rain? Rain is the one ingredient needed in the growing of a successful crop that cannot be purchased. It is simply a gift. As Jackie already mentioned, May 2021 is one of those times when we are in great need of this gift. And when it comes, I know I will be drawn to a large window where I can just watch it rain. My heart will be dancing and I will be filled with joy. And as this gift drops from the skies, my thanks will rise up over and over again. Jackie asked me what I've learned from this process of waiting for rain. Well, certainly I've learned patience. As I mentioned earlier, rain doesn't always come when we want it or need it. I believe that waiting for rain has also deepened the feelings of empathy and compassion I have for others who are experiencing drought and for those who do not have enough to eat. The good years, when rain was plentiful, have given me the ability to share with those who do not have enough. The dry years, the waiting for rain years, are the ones that taught me that I needed to share.
I received those thoughtful words from Gaylord this past week. The morning that much land throughout Saskatchewan was drinking in rain. A smile came across my face as I imagined Gaylord and many others with hearts full of joy and gratitude that this time, at least in many parts of Saskatchewan, rain did come. Doesn't it feel good to receive a needed gift just at the right time? In Gaylord's words, I hear compassion, a willingness to enter and share in the burden of others in our world who face severe consequences when the rains don't come. And I also hear patience and a call to let go of anxiousness as we wait. Thank you so much, Gaylord. Waiting patiently is hard work, but is also good work and important work. Patience allows us to accept struggle so that we can keep moving forward and persevere in difficulty. According to the wisdom offered in James 1:4, we need perseverance to become whole, complete, and mature human beings. The book of James was written to scattered faith communities that were under a lot of pressure from their surrounding culture. The question was, were these communities going to pull together and share in each other's burdens as they waited for the fulfillment of all their longings? Or was the struggle going to split them apart? What James offered to these communities under pressures were a series of wise, practical good deeds, like listening to each other, avoiding favoritism, guarding one's tongue, and being generous in your wealth. Even today, I think such deeds give evidence of a godly wisdom, a wisdom that James 3:17 says is pure, peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. The next verse takes us back to farming, for it says, peacemakers who sow in peace raise a harvest of righteousness. It's not always easy to be patient, especially when we do not receive what we feel we so desperately need. I hope that faith will sustain you in these times so that you can remain committed to deeds that produce goodness for your families and communities here in Saskatchewan and throughout our world. And when you do receive what you need, be like the land, drink it in, celebrate the goodness of what faith brings, so that your life can be blessed and bring God's blessing to others. Thanks again for listening. Thanks to Gaylord for sharing his thoughts. Next month, we will be talking about the hardworking farmer. While no amount of hard work earns a good harvest, effort is needed. After all, we reap what we sow. I leave you with 2 questions and a suggestion. Think of a time when you waited patiently for something. What blessings did you receive from doing this good work? Secondly, what is an area in your current life where you would like to grow in patience? Offer this desire to God. And finally, think of a merciful and kind act that you could do for someone today or this week. Perhaps you can offer a gift to meet someone else's need. Take care, and God bless.